Hi, this is Keith Bryant for Global SMT and Packaging Magazine, and I'm here with Mr. Sony Singh from NMTronics. And I'd like to start, Mr. Sony, if I could, by asking you about the Make in India initiative, which is a couple of years old now. But I have to say, from my side, it seems to be gaining a momentum, but obviously you are much closer to everything, so I'd like your opinion.
Thank you, Keith. And yes, Make in India initiative, which was done by our Honorable Prime Minister, has really started giving the shape. Not fully, I would say that. Starting is good. We are seeing a lot of activities happening in India, specifically for mobile phone manufacturing, automotive electronics, and electronics related from the government projects. Coming forward for the mobile phone, I would say there are more than 40 companies in India. They have already started doing a final assembly of the mobile phones because they see there's a direct benefit of 12% in the bottom line if they do a final assembly of mobile phones in India. And this is only a very initial start. There will be a next phase coming up which will require an SMT line setups, and where the government might impose the duty on the import of the populated PCBs. That is the reason the SMT lines will get operational. Besides this, only the SMT line will not be enough, because I feel whole supply chain need to get developed. I'm in touch with the companies, those who are manufacturers of LCD screens, the display panels, batteries, and camera modules, and plastic covers, top cover, bottom cover, magnetics, and different subcomponents. And same thing it goes for an automotive electronics, same thing that goes for telecom business, for the base stations, and so on.
Wow, that's a really huge potential step forward for the next few years. Can I ask, what about the semiconductors? What about the components? Because I know that was another strand of the government initiative to get component manufacture into India.
Semiconductor business is really behind. India has not yet taken any shape so far the semiconductor business is concerned. When we say about semicon business at the very primitive stage, we talk about packaging of LEDs, or we talk about the manufacturing of passive components, or we talk about manufacturing memory cards, micro SD cards, and so on. No, India is not that matured enough because there's a lack of policy from the government. I would say from the electronic manufacturing, which per se we say about the SMT part and testing part, India is gaining maturity. But on semicon, India is far, far behind compared to China, Taiwan, and Korea, Japan.
But surely if you get mobile phone manufacturing here, that's going to drag the component companies with it to an extent, because they're going to want to be here if their actual manufacturing is happening here in the next stage.
Yes, very true. That is the reason I said a few minutes back, camera module is one of the essential subcomponent for every mobile phone nowadays. And there are companies, they are talking about the camera module business, and I'm in a very active discussion, and I'm sure the semicon business will take shape, but after a few years.
So again, good news on top of good news. And I was privileged to be at your event yesterday evening, and I know that you have well, more than a plan and even more than a strategy, but you have a move which you are going to be implementing in the very short term, which is actually going to be a benefit for the whole of the industry. So I'm going to hand you the microphone and let you explain it in your own words.
Keith, yes. In fact, the biggest problem, I see there will be a flood coming for our business for the SMT lines in next 2 to 3 years. Some big guys, they estimate maybe around 150 SMT lines might come in. And these numbers are analyzed again and again, and then customer clarified that these may not be the brand new lines, there may be some transfer. Particularly this kind of a situation might come in only because of the mobile phone change in little policy from the government of India. There will be, because the statistics says whatever the capacity Chinese mobile phone manufacturer, 30% of them is catering to India right now. And if the SMT operations started happening to India, the Chinese guys will have no option. In fact, Indian and Chinese companies are working so closely to each other. They are forming joint ventures, they are having foreign direct investments as well. So there is going to be a huge influx of the electronic manufacturing. And the biggest bottleneck right now is a trained manpower. Trained manpower in the sense right at the operator level, technician level, engineers level. And this is going to cause a big problem for our industry. Whenever I'm talking to the CEOs and managing directors and the president of the companies, and everyone is raising the same concern. So with all the thought processes, discussing internally with our business partners and with the customers, we came up with an idea of starting a training academy. Like a snapshot, how it's going to work. We are going to invite the students who are in the final year in the universities, those who are doing a graduate program in the engineering, as well as final year in the diploma programs, because the skill set of these two level of the students are very different. And we are going to invite both of them, put them in a different stream, and we are going to train them in a different level. Means a 3-month program, 6 months program, and the 9-month program. The whole curriculum is going to be divided on the basis of the credit hours, and they can go as a stage 1 to stage 2 and stage 3. And the student will be exposed, they will be trained, they will be educated in all the fields. So far we understand they are essential for the electronic manufacturing. And as you know, our company, we have a specialization from chip to chip. So we have an access to all the technologies. And then these students, at the same time, parallelly, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to sign a non-binding MOU with all my customers, and so that there can be a guaranteed job placements to the deserving candidates, so that all of them can get a job. But it will be non-binding. So of course, the student has to work really hard, pass our exam, and in between, let us say the student who are enrolling for 9 months, and in between the 9 months, maybe 1 month, the student may go to the designated company, to the area where he belongs to or he want to work. He can work as an intern with these companies, and so the employer, no employee, and employee, no employer. The strengths of the engineer can be known, and if he performs well during the intern, he can get absorbed after the remaining period of his stay in our academy. And this way we are going to give a quality manpower. The important is that these students, whether they are coming at the level of operator, or they are coming at the level of technicians, or even they are coming at the level of engineers, they will be plug and play. And I spoke to almost all the customers who visited in this show, and they really liked it. They say, Sony, you are creating like a win-win situation, and our partners have really appreciated that. And Mr. Keith, I will need your personal support as well for the same.
Well, thank you for lumbering me with that one on air, so to speak. But no, I'm going to ask you one last question, Mr. Sony. Where is the money coming from?
Very important question. There will be, I would say, the education is going to be subsidized. The important thing is that I don't want to make my academy profit center. I want to just make sure the cost is going to be recovered. There are various avenues. One thing, we contribute a little bit of profit from our side, because with our business partners, it may be a part of the CSR. And then there are funding available from the government of India, and of course nothing is free, so students also need to contribute it. So we are still framing it out, what will be the overall cost, and what will be the quality of education is going to come in. So I would say it will be a combination from all the three sides. The students from NMTronics side, as well as funding from the government side. But nothing is finalized, we are just framing it out, and the moment the structure is ready, we are going to publish it.
Well, I have to say, I think this is a tremendous idea. I think it's going to fill a gap, and it's good that somebody has the vision to see this before people start putting in production lines. There aren't enough staff. All that happens then is that the salaries go up, and suddenly you become uneconomic in the global picture. So I'm very pleased to have interviewed you about this, and I wish you every success with it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Keith. I really enjoyed speaking to you, and looking forward to see you again.